All right, so it's getting close to the end of the year and the award season keeps on rolling. Let's talk about Real Pain, whether that's an award contender or not. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of A Real Pain, the newest film from director Jesse Eisenberg. Alright, so we finally have the second directorial effort from Jesse Eisenberg, who his last film was not considered a great movie, but now we have a movie that he actually is garnering a lot of Oscar buzz for, which is a story of a pair of cousins, who of course are played by Jesse Eisenberg himself and Kieran Culkin, who go to Poland to visit the native land of their past culture. You know, they are Jewish individuals. Their grandmother, of course, came from Poland, and they're going there to kind of experience the nature of how bad it was in World War II for the Jewish faith and stuff like that. And in the process of everything, Kieran Culkin is an individual with a very rough demeanor, but also a very kind of outgoing demeanor, but he's also very straightforward. He says what he feels. He kind of, you would almost like kind of be embarrassed to be around him, but he's an individual that has a lot of things going behind his soul. And his cousin, who's played by Jesse Eisenberg, is more of a tightly wound corporate suit with a family who does the day-to-day machinations and stuff like that. And it becomes a story about how two individuals who clash with one another find possible solace in the nature of how they grew up with one another, how close they used to be, and how much the world around them affects the kind of who they are, what they are, how they become who they are. And it's really also interesting because it also takes place in Poland. We see, places that are very much of like the Nazi regime and how they affected Poland and all that kind of stuff. So we see like the concentration camps and stuff like that. So it's very much feels like a very personal look into a world that is very, unfortunately, the history is what it is. And once again, it's a movie directed by Jesse Eisenberg, so it feels like it's a little personal to him. Okay, so with that said, Jesse Eisenberg has been around for quite a while. Kieran Culkin, of course, has garnered a lot of success through Succession. Also, of course, part of the Culkin family. And this is an interesting movie because it premiered at Sundance, and it was a movie that has garnered a lot of buzz for Kieran Culkin's his performance, is garnering possibly an Oscar win for supporting actor. But it's a movie that, it's level of sincerity has garnered it like a lot of acclaim. Jesse Eisenberg has found his groove. He's kind of come into his own. Usually an actor has issues in their first film and they kind of find their footing if they really kind of go for it, similar to like what Ben Affleck did. And so with that said, I was really looking forward to seeing this movie because I hear how emotionally resonant it is and how good Kieran Culkin's performance is and how emotionally just devastating the movie comes out. And going into this movie, giving my honest review of what I feel about this movie, I think this is a movie that is a lot. It really is. It's a very emotional movie. It's a movie that deals with some very heavy subjects. But I think what this movie does really well is it gives two interesting performances from Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin that really kind of elevate this movie from being a very standard fare, being kind of too schmaltzy in a lot of respects. And what I mean by that is Jesse Eisenberg is just an individual that wants to see his culture, wants to see the sights of who he was, is an individual that you would see on a tour that would be more reserved. And Kieran Culkin's the exact opposite. We learn about a little about what he went through, why the way he is, how he is very forceful with what he says, how he is very independent. But what the outer layer of Kieran Culkin, which can come off a very, very strong-willed and very annoying, the utter innerness to Kieran Culkin's performance and what he is able to do and what he's capable of doing is something kind of revolutionary in a lot of respects. I have not seen Succession, so I don't know how good Kieran Culkin is. But the thing about what Kieran Culkin is capable of doing is being very smarmy, being very much of an a-hole. But he also gives a level of depthness that you saw in like Igby Goes Down and the kind of fun natured, kind of free-willing, just do whatever he wants that you saw in Scott Pilgrim. And he's absolutely fantastic in this movie. Yes, he gets under your skin. Yes, he makes you mad. Yes, he has a level of depthness that you don't realize, but there's a level of sweetness. He never really he makes fun of his cousin because of the simple fact of how they've kind of separated and how different the worldview is between the two of them now. But when you see him at the concentration camp, when you see him on the balcony smoking weed, when you see him in the airport, there is something sad behind the eyes of this individual. There's something, you know, melancholy, but there's also something wonderful and something kind of unique that he is able to portray on the people, because the people that are in the tour group differ in way different ways to how they've grown up. We have somebody that was part of the genocide that converted to Judaism. We have a couple who one family member is Jewish. We have another person who wants to kind of relive the history of the world, and we have the tour guide. And it's just a beautiful movie. It really is. It's just a beautiful kind of way of portraying this story of these two individuals that kind of don't see eye to eye. And that's the whole thing I feel about what Jesse Eisenberg is portraying, because he is the writer of this movie, is how different people become, but are able to see kind of through the thickness, the hardship, the difficultiness. Because there is a scene where Jesse Eisenberg just kind of unleaves his soul, or just lays it on the table about how he feels about his cousin. You know, his cousin is an individual that does something really traumatic, and you see it in his performance. And this is a movie that's going to be very difficult for some people because of how strong-willed and how in your face Kieran Culkin can be in this movie. But when you break it down to what Kieran Culkin is doing and how difficult and how multi-dimensional he becomes, it's a really powerful thing. It really is. It's a really amazing performance, and it really sets the movie apart from being something very, once again, schmaltzy, because even though it deals with the traumatic events of like the genocide of World War II with the you know, Nazis and Jewish people, it really has a heart to it. It really does. The only thing I really wish there was more of is just maybe you tone Kieran Culkin down a little bit, but maybe the point is that he is just a guy who's going to say what he feels, and whether you like it or not is up to you. But I don't really find any problems with this movie, because 90 minutes it is, and it doesn't really stray too much from the subject material. And then when it goes into the heart of the story, and when it goes into like the stuff that Kieran Culkin's Benji character starts revealing, it really is a wonderful movie. It really is. Whether it makes my top 10, I don't know, because it's a very difficult year. It's already becoming a very stacked year for movies, but I think it's really a movie that you kind of have to go past the performances of what Kieran Culkin is doing, look deep into what he's trying to present, and look what Jesse Eisenberg is presenting to the table in this kind of very difficult scenario where of two cousins who haven't really seen each other for a while, but really find a way to connect through their history when it comes to their grandmother and stuff like that. So overall, I really like this movie. I think it's a really interesting movie. I think it can get under your skin, but I think it's definitely worth a watch if you're interested. So definitely worth a watch. Definitely gonna get an Oscar nomination for Kieran Culkin, maybe a win. But yeah, definitely worth it. So there you go. Anyways, with that said, thank you so much for watching. Comments below if you've seen The Real Pain. Let me know what you think. All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top. The fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.